Alexei, it's an honor to have you here today to talk. My name is Natalia Sokolova.
Thank you.
In front of us is Alexei Mironov, one of the founders of BRAVIA Fund, one of the co-founders, actually. Hopefully, we can find out about them later. So please, tell us about yourself, how you came to this.
So, my journey started after university in 1999. And I worked in bank and insurance companies only around 3 years. This period was probably enough to understand that I should create my own company. To understand that financial business is actually very interesting. And starting from 2002, we founded an investment company, serving government and commercial institutions, helping to control their funds. We created an infrastructure for sewage companies in forms of trade networks, warehouses as well. Basically, we tried many things.
In Russia?
Yes, in Russia. Starting from 2015, we decided to start working with finance again and go to a new level. And we started thinking about creating an online project. It's not a secret that all successful businesses are now online. And if it's an online financial project, then it becomes 2 to 3 more times interesting. And that's actually a pretty cool challenge. To create something which is useful and needed by clients from one side, and from the other, to enter such a
niche, for instance.
Yes, a very complex niche, which is very competitive and regulated by all possible committees, and central banks, and other regulators.
And I'd say many people are also scared because of giving away their money. They're afraid of banks and other financial companies that are also growing. But about this we'll talk separately.
That's absolutely true. One more challenge when creating such a project, creating a bank, is learning to work with clients' objections. And it's absolutely correct. When a client doesn't trust, when he's suspicious in something, when he's thinking it over around 10 times, only one time will make a choice. That's absolutely correct, and we need to learn how to work with that.
When there was the crisis in Russia, when basically all the companies didn't know how to move forward, what happened with you and with the companies back then?
Back then, I was the owner of a pretty large holding that supplied foreign equipment. We were importers of equipment for Russia. Besides that, we offered financial tools called equipment leasing, and we cut a large amount of risk from that. Devaluation, which made importing equipment into Russia actually useless. It became too expensive. It was one of the hardest lessons which needed to be learned. But of course, 5 years of energy and ideas were given to that business, making the situation much harder.
Discomfort. Okay, how did you arrive in Spain right after this?
Right after the situation, when you've been restarted, there's nothing to lose in the larger idea of that word. There's no difference in where to start something new. And I remember that I wanted to fulfill our saying. Where you were born, that's where you were useful. I really want Russian businessmen and entrepreneurs to show that's actually absolutely false. To show that they could be successful in other countries besides Russia, but still being Russian.
I even feel that right now there are more opportunities in other countries. Well, at least I've experienced that. Why? Because we're more creative, flexible, and workable. If in Spain people are ready to work only from 9 to 6, then our people win with the fact that we're ready to work until night.
So, if we're talking about Spain, and I haven't tried in Switzerland or Germany, that's a different situation. But about Spain, it's an incredible country to start something. I believe we correctly chose it. It's Europe. It has clear-cut laws and rules of business, clear-cut taxes which need to be paid. And you know what you can do, what you really can't do, and what's banned from doing.
Okay, then why BRAVIA Fund? Who did you think this up with? Where was it born? Where is this name from? Why exactly an investment fund? Please tell me about this more.
It's probably just an association with the country where we, the founders, live in. And it's absolutely correctly characterized with the word bravo. Bravia, bravo.
Bravery.
And also just the sound of it. A very easy to remember one. We were choosing between just 2 to 3 other names and chose a very ringing, pretty, and optimistic name. BRAVIA. BRAVIA Fund.
We've already seen the side of the company and have even been able to gather questions from partners and clients. So I'll just go through the questions, and I'd like to say that when you see the site, you understand that the company is Spanish, but the site is only in Russian and English. Why not Spanish? A Spanish domain, why a Russian domain?
Well, the site is in Russian because it was founded by Russians. The founder is a Russian citizen. Yes, living here, we live in Spain, but it's more comfortable to work this way. It's an online project, a modern technological project, a bank of the future. And I hope that in some time many will understand this. We very well know Russian mentality and perfectly understand the market. We know what there's a lot of, what's missing, and in what kind of form we could be growing. We understand that the Russian market isn't the simplest to work in. To go out into the Russian market, we had a certain challenge in the project. And we wanted to receive criticism, observations, suspicions, anything. There are many different people who react differently, and we perfectly understand that. The moment that we succeed in the Russian market, everything else becomes open.
Okay, and what about those sites that are already writing that some clients can receive their payments or withdraw or deposit? What is it? Is it true or just some criticism?
Well, phrases like "we can't deposit" don't exist. About withdrawing, there are also practically none. So it actually turns out that most criticism is written by people who just don't have enough.
So they just want to receive money for writing a good article.
Of course, this article is written and then spread across the internet, and then a waiting game ensues from the side of internet scammers. And we actually have the idea, why not flip this all over? If you pay, let's say, a specific sum, which exceeds $1,000 to $2,000 a month for such reviews.
Specifically a month?
Yeah, it's sort of like a subscription fee.
Whoa, and so you've already done similar things?
Yes, it's a specific case and we all did it specially. and also the owners of such reviews, with great pleasure, open an account in BRAVIA Fund and receive funds on the BRAVIA Fund account for their flipping. And they keep their money. And they also participate in the partner program through these negative reviews. Because for someone, these negative reviews don't decide actions, like stopping them. The opposite. They actually analyze and see that it's just a cash grab, which means if there's a lot of them, it means only one thing. We're popular. If people talk about us behind our backs, that means we're going forward and we can offer something interesting, which means people can profit with us.
Perfect. Alexei, I'm very happy to see you in person because right now on the site there isn't a single face, no founders or anything, and in the internet as well. There isn't any information on who's the face of the company, and I'm happy to see you. Why aren't you on social media yet, and when will you appear there?
I've never been a public sort of person. This is actually one of my first interviews. I'm kind of a bit worried with how everything happens. It's a specific kind of lifestyle which you need to be ready for.
Let's look at some questions so we can get going, but I've already asked some, like why in Spain, not Russia? I'd like to know some more about how Spanish law affects you. There's some information on your site as well.
Okay. Well, we show information openly. And our position about this question is the following. In Europe, we have laws that are already cemented. There's rules of the game. Sublegal acts, which have been made a while ago. And we understand how to move from point A to point B in our growth. Besides this, by being here, working with Russian citizens, and in the future with other close countries, we give them a mechanism to defend their interests. Also, why Spain and not some other European country? Because by not hiding where we live, from the moment of this interview, it becomes clear and open to everyone that we won't allow ourselves to mess up badly with our clients. So our head company is registered there where we live. So yeah.
So we call ourselves an online bank, but we don't have a license of a central bank.
Well, for now, yes. We don't have a license. We only really call ourselves an online bank in front of friends, partners, or on closed presentations. In our case, the word bank can't be used because of very strict regulation. It's the realm of money, where money is printed and multiplied. Money is an instrument of suppression and control of a population in any country.
It's an instrument for life, like it or not.
Well, it's a really deep system. So of course regulators are always watching. And that's why we don't call ourselves a bank to the public. The moment when we can go forward and buy a bank and bring all of our operations and clients there, or our second option is getting licensed, but in a way that gives us some level of freedom. What's the point if we just turn into everyone else? We won't be able to provide a higher income in Russia, 6% annually, and in Spain, 0.2% annually. That's probably why they pay so much.
Spain's a different story. People in Spain don't know that they're paying as well for insurance, like life or home.
So they could open you an account.
Yes, to open the account and additional commissions if you're not really active.
And for you to be active, we shouldn't be scaring you, because you probably don't like it when you're being asked, about every transaction. What's this? Where's it going? Where's it from?
And I think this is happening currently in Russia, right, Alexei? I'm talking about cards being blocked, banks checking where money is being withdrawn and deposited. But what about BRAVIA Fund? This spooks people too. If you're paying through BRAVIA Fund, withdrawing, depositing, could there be such similar questions and card blocks?
If BRAVIA Fund, for some reason, contacts with a regular bank system, an old-school bank system, then we, as a company, take on some risks that something will not be allowed, blocked, or they'll ask something, and etc. The principle of BRAVIA Fund is that these problems are dealt with by us. We solve them. The client shouldn't feel that to any degree. We just do this from the current liquidity ourselves, showing that the client shouldn't worry at all.
That's quite the advantage compared to other bank offers. Okay, so as I understood, the company was only founded. In which month did you open it?
Well, officially, the company was registered in Spain in May 2018.
So, 2018, coinciding with this period of other companies closing, which are not similar but also financial. For instance, not too long ago, a quite large company that grew through financial possibilities banned its clients from using their services and are now paying some sorts of procents, but not what it promised. How would you comment on this? Is there going to be something similar? Basically, should people be scared or not?
Well, I pretty much understand which companies you're talking about, and I'll say it like this. Each person should adequately value those offers from commercials of a shady organization. And in the moment when you're reading that they're promising you around 400 to 500% annual,
you understand about which company I was talking about.
Yeah, I perfectly know. So you should probably ask yourself, how is this possible? To support your infrastructure costs, pay salaries, and to technically leave something as profit, or else what does it exist for?
So they made empty promises from the beginning, right?
Well, I think it's like that. Maybe. I'm not naming anyone, and I respect all other companies, but as a piece of advice to your potential clients of our company or others, try to objectively value what you're being offered.
So, from what I've learned, you offer 35% annually in rubles, 20% in euros and dollars. How do you make money? How does the company profit?
So, this is a transition from our last question to our next one. And I should say that we're giving what we can give, what we can allow ourselves. And we don't think we offer something off limits in terms of income percents. It's all real. I can back up my words with this. Take the top 3 banks of credit cards in Russia. I won't be naming them. And to see the parity of that bank in a return on equity graph.
It's so viewable in the internet, right?
Yeah, you can find it on the CB site or the bank site. Or just Google it. The most profitable bank in Russia. And to see the actual return on equity, it's quite impressive.
How much approximately?
The bank shares at around the level of 7 to maybe 10% annually, and they have their reason. They need to support their chain of partners that work as regulators, reporters, and just no documents.
How much is their percent? Around 70 to 80%?
80% annual capital.
Then how many colleagues are working in BRAVIA Fund? Like, how does it look? I understand that everything's online, but you have people that work in locations like developers, accountants. What does it look like?
Well, the company is constantly growing, and at this current stage, probably 25 to 30 people that service operations, hiring, training, closing, preparing contracts, and etc. Our branch that deals with making money is around, I think, 10 to 15 people that are constantly working. And it's more people that sort of have a specific mindset, like programmers and people who are used to, let's say, working with machines.
So these are the same people who are making these percents. Oh, okay. So to wrap everything up, if we're talking about you making pretty high percents a year, how are you doing it? With the help of which instruments?
Well, there are a couple. The main one being market trading. We use regular shares, for instance, of different large companies, but it's a small income. Actually, it's more of a classical, let's say, area, and it brings a pretty standard income of around 20 to 25, maybe 27% annually. Money we invest there is minimal. Secondly, with the same instruments, it's technical, fundamental, and semantic analysis. All types of marketing strategies. Plus developments connected with automatic trading. That's the future. Basically, all these manual trades of typical traders are already fading into the past. And it's going to be gone in some time, because
computers can already calculate everything,
yeah, when a machine can do a couple of deals in 1 second and the time of operation is measured in milliseconds, basically developers are tuning the location of our server that close to the place of closing a deal, so that our time of doing an operation is shorter than our competition. We're basically talking about these kinds of technology.
Okay, but people are kind of afraid right now of investing. They feel uncomfortable because maybe the money will disappear, maybe it can be withdrawn. What kind of security do you give to your clients? Are there any types of insurance, basically how they're protected?
Well, there are a couple levels of security. So let's say a couple of mechanisms that show the client that they can stay calm. We already talked about non-verbal instruments today. That's deciding to register the company in the EU. And everyone probably understands that courts in the EU are more accurate, and they make decisions timely instead of appealing them. They have less outside factors, basically. There's also technical instruments. For instance, like emission of a bill under a client's deposit. A bill is basically an IOU that has priority in court observation, if we look at the worst possible situation. So, we're imitating the company's bill under the set deposit. Another instrument is insurance. And we were able to secure 2 types of insurance. The first one would be, let's say, is preservation of responsibility of the mother company of the Spanish company, BRAVIA, from risk of not fulfilling requirements to third parties or in front of our clients and counteragents.
Which company insures?
The company Lloyd's, one of the largest international financial groups.
You're so secure you were insured by Lloyd's.
Well, according to, let's say, their opinion, our business plan, our model of what we're doing right now and what we're striving for was quite interesting for them, enough to insure us on quite large sums. At the current moment, the total insurance fund is 7.5 million euros. It's probably more connected to the fact that, judicially, the company is quite young. We registered it only then, when we needed it to start the process of licensing, office rent, conclusions of agreements, as well as market brand registration. We registered only in May. And by Lloyd's regulations, we have the maximum insurance coverage that we could possibly have with this company age. But the more we grow, the more we'll develop our cooperation. Oh, and the second form of insurance with Lloyd's is so-called personal insurance. Personal insurance covers issuing insurance policy of a specific deal. And in the policy, in the beneficiaries column, is shown the client, whose deposit is insured by this policy.
For any sum?
For any sum, absolutely.
So does the client pay for this, or do you pay yourselves?
Yes. We make the 3% cost from the sum of the insurance policy, because there are specific costs for insurance, communication with the company. It's quite large, and for regulation, we need to share large amounts of information. Besides that, it's also development, or basically in the personal office, the client will be able to check if he wants to receive the policy or not.
Okay, how is your bill being supported, or when a person receives?
With the set deposit.
So it's a security paper?
It's a security paper imitated by the company to trade for some kind of money, which the client gives to that company. But it's kind of obvious that if the client allocates 500,000 rubles, then we can write him a bill for 500,000 rubles. What happens in the end of the contracts action, by the way, forgot to say that for every deposit a contract is made.
For any sum, even if it's small?
Well, if the clients want to, then we do it for any sum. But as a rule, clients ask for contracts usually from 500,000 to 1 million rubles. Basically, in the end of our contracts action, we exchange two assets, counter assets, so the clients bring our bill, our responsibilities, and we transfer them funds. That's how a deal is done.
So, for instance, if I go and make a deposit of, let's say, 100,000 rubles, I don't receive any documents. Basically, money is just there. And BRAVIA receives their percent, and there are no documents. Or are there any negotiable documents between the client, or am I supposed to request for these documents?
Well, for now, the system's made in a way where the client makes a request for a paper contract. The next version of the personal office will provide not only to put a check mark, I want to be insured, but for every deal to automatically form a contract, with a facsimile, signature, and stamp, of course. In the case the client wants to receive the contract in their mail, then they provide their mail address and we send them the original copy.
And verification?
And perfectly in time about verification. We can of course integrate into our partnership with the clients if they're not against verifying and providing their mail address, passport information, which we of course keep secret and secure. They don't go anywhere out of BRAVIA.
Any bank requires this online, right?
Yes, of course. Again, we're subject to European and Russian laws about data protection. As soon as we can build the correct process in dialogues with our clients about verification, and they're not against it, it allows a huge number of instruments which will again be comfortable for clients. We'll be able to automatically, without any request, form a contract for absolutely any deal, prescribe a certain graduation, to give to our clients and give them the possibility to go step by step, higher and higher, depending on how invested they are in cooperation with the fund. Every step will cover a specific level of loyalty from our side. It could be a bank card, opening an account overseas, the possibility of using discounts when reserving tickets or hotels. Well, or basically, we're talking about the creation of BRAVIA Club. For the last 17 to 18 years behind each of the founders in the banking sphere, it gives the, opportunity to make the right conclusions, analyze, and form the product. The product line, which we can really call the best.
Well, now I'm going on with the client's questions. What are your documents and where can I find them?
Information about the company is publicly accessible. The company card is on the site. With the company's tax number, you can see everything that is allowed to be publicly viewable. Statutory documents, internal commercial information, and accounting are not provided openly. We only show it in the case if it's also interesting for us. Like, offer something valuable, and we'll show you everything needed to successfully work together.
What kind of documentation do you have for doing business in Russia? Where can we see it?
In Russia is our daughter company that's open. And just like in other countries, we'll be moving forward this way. BRAVIA Rus is a limited liability company. Under this company are all partners who are connected to working projects in Russia. The company deals with household expenses, like supporting the office and etc. Oh, and by the way, we're opening a new office in Moscow, to be specific in Moscow City on the 63rd floor with beautiful views. So I'm using the moment to invite you and everyone who's watching over. I think you'll like it. We'll be able to show everything, tell everything, present our new ideas and projects. There's a perfect conference room. We're also currently making a webinar room with modern equipment. Or just come over to take a picture. An Instagram selfie in front of a nice Moscow view.
The company BRAVIA is registered as a limited liability company and answers in front of court with its authorized capital. Here's the question. The authorized capital is 3,100 euros. What was marked in the registry in Spain? Is this publicly available?
Here's how I'll comment. The question isn't really built correctly. In which case do we answer to court with authorized capital? When there's nothing more? Well, probably yes, when it turns out that only authorized capital is left. In the case the company has working capital, some sort of assets, then it answers with these assets. Basically, its accounts get blocked. It pays to creditors with what it has left. And we're talking about some sort of horrible future scenario for us. Anyways, company insurance also counts as assets. Insurance policy is an asset. If some sort of financial risk comes to play, and we can't pay our counter agent for some reason, well then, we have insurance. And this responsibility is covered by a pretty large and respected insurance company.
So in Spain, the company's activity is defined as legal services.
Yeah, that's right. I'll comment simply. As all others, and I suspect some more tricky questions, but to each one of them there's an absolutely straightforward answer. Legal services. This is correct from a certain point of view for us, so we can fulfill our business growth strategy in European territory. And to grow our business inside of a very conservative sector, the banking sector. Just think, in the number 0.02% annually, the bank pays its client in Spain. This says only one thing. They feel themselves here only as monopolists. People can do anything to them, but can someone seriously think that we'll be let into this sector so easily? So of course, by saying that our main activity is legal consultation, but I will say it is pretty similar to what we are doing. Yes. It is consulting. Yes, we are teaching people how to make money. These activities being written down allowed us to open bank accounts. They allowed to open an insurance system. Not an agency, but a system. And technically, we are able to come to an agreement with the largest international holding to ensure that, which isn't insured at all in Russia. Insurance agencies there insure up to 400 million rubles. Meanwhile, our way is a lot more correct and profitable for clients. The only question here is that many Russians fear a Spanish company, and the company Lloyd's, which is in London. It seems as if it's far away. It's just their understanding of the world is a bit different. Whereas here it's more global and compact. Everything is tightly connected and distanced away by just 2 to 3 hours of flying, if we're talking about Europe.
Okay, I agree. So what about Victoriano Ramos Valentin? Who is named the director? Who is this person? Why is he specified in the documents?
So, he's a Spanish lawyer with a lot of experience and respect. Besides, and I've never said this, but to open the curtain, he's also part of a political party who recently won the election in one of the largest regions in Spain, where the company is registered as well. The region is called Andalusia.
Okay, what about the company's goals? For instance, some companies set goals from 1 to 3 years away. How far do you see the company? For how many years is there already a strategy?
Well, any owner would say that we can see 50 years away. The only question is there are some accepted analysis periods, which are comfortable for the masses. Well, we see that the company in the next 2 to 3 years will be present in different countries, like Southeastern Asia, China, South Korea, around Russia, of course, countries of the CIS, and Europe. We need to put into motion multilingual functions and connect different countries. Basically, the company's site will be made to easily connect any country, and each country will have its own product line. The personal office will be in a familiar language, and we need to actualize this as soon as possible. Our short-term plan is the possibility of purchasing our own payment system. By purchasing this, it'll be easier for us to transfer payments internationally from different clients around the world. And people who are willing to use that service, as it now brings us to preparing our own internal cryptocurrency, which will be comfortable and quoted in digital money exchanges. If that'll be interesting for someone, they will be able to use it.
But right now there isn't any cards, right? Like...
Well, for now we don't have our own cards. We offer this service for large clients by card statements from 2 German banks, with who are we negotiating with to fully give us a verification system to a Spanish company. And it will be receiving these cards and sending it to clients. And it will also be solving problems which are unfortunately targeted oftenly at Russians these past few years, making them cancel. Basically, we'll solve these problems ourselves, and I hope we can come to an agreement in the case we put that history on a stream that will be able to send a card to every BRAVIA fund client. Simply, for some it will be paid, and for others it'll be free. This takes us back to the topic of the steps to make inside BRAVIA Club. Maybe there'll be a logo on that card, next to a pretty logo of the bank.
So the question about how to withdraw money, how to transfer, that's everything controlled, even between physical entities. Basically, we're saving people from the main pain of this.
In this problem, there are two aspects. First, it's the freedom of money transfer not from the point of view of their taxation, just freedom of transfer. Banks can't transfer between each other. I'm not even talking about different countries. There's a lot of laws which they're afraid to break and lose their license to. It's a regulated sector. There's a lot of theories that are specific to this. Integration in society, fighting against specific bad people, etc. Well, actually, now they're not fighting with them, but with every one of us. We all have headaches connected with payments, and we're solving that. That's the first part. There are no tax relations here. When people are sending each other money, why are we talking about tax?
In reality, the company looks quite appealing right now for clients because of profit, market, positioning. Basically, everything we've discussed, at least I, as a person who wants to invest, see that's appealing. But what about partners? Why is this interesting for a person to become a partner of BRAVIA Fund?
So now we're talking about partners of the company and its colleagues, right?
Yes, about those people who would want to invite clients and receive together with BRAVIA an income.
Well, right now it's an extraordinary situation for all people who have some sort of competence, and that competence is the best in its own world. And now we're talking about the best sellers, about those people who love doing it and are passionate. We need those kind of people. We don't use social media or advertising resources that are connected to social media, and we do that intentionally. The point is that the product is quite new and it's financial. Like any other financial product, it needs word-of-mouth communication. It requires fixing clients' criticism. The new client is always and absolutely correct to criticize. Respectively, there's nothing better than when someone who's already working with us or using our services and being motivated about it tells about it to their friend, relative, or their community, or in social media. For us, this is the main way to grow our business. But during this growth and spreading of information about us, we of course use any motivational opportunities, which are also used by our partners, agents, agency directors, because the company grows by the principle of forming agencies in large cities, different countries, without any borders. When we're talking about these kind of people, I can proudly say, in our company, currently, there are strong leaders who showed that they have a great character and have come to terms that we are still being seen as a startup, despite having a lot of experience behind our backs. But the company and the product itself, of course, still have traits of a startup. It's probably more progressed than just beginning, but...
So we've already crossed the equator.
Yeah, a sort of critical line, where it's become clear that it's capable, needed, and demanded, and that we can keep moving forward. But those problems and parts that are connected to a startup and are called household problems, it's not a government corporation where everything is clearly defined. We're creating history. Our history. And by creating our own history, we probably are changing and will continue to change our current reality that surrounds a large amount of people. It's enough for them to look at us, enough to understand our philosophy, enough to understand what we are selling. We're not selling just a deposit or some sort of financial instrument. We're selling something different. It's the freedom to be rich, the freedom to be independent, and the freedom to do business how you like, when you like, and where you like.
Amazing.
Замечательно. То есть вы говорите о такой свободе для людей, значит, какая-то система мотивации тоже сейчас достаточно гибкая, свободная. То есть когда человек приходит, например, агентом, да, он получает какие-то проценты за привлечение клиентов, правильно я понимаю? И чем больше, по сути дела, он действует, тем больше он получает возможностей.
Да, все зависит только от его
Well, yes. Everything just depends on their communicative data, their wish to correctly tell people about what they sell, their perseverance to take everything in during the beginning stage, to know their way in the personal office, to know the material, like what's insured, where and what is placed, how we make money. Basically, to be able to answer all typical questions which we've covered today.
So if a client bought for themselves the product, I think that they're already able to easily sell it if they're a good communicator or a salesperson.
Absolutely. Without that, there's nothing. Because it's not important the sum of products taken, but a loyal approach. If a person is loyal, they want to buy themselves something, which means they like it. When they're opening with us an account, or even a small deposit, it's important that they go through everything, start to finish. They'll see what's comfortable, what's uncomfortable, they can give some advice, they already know where their future potential client is, who can also sell and make a profit. They know how to answer these questions.
There's a feeling that people anyways are afraid of these products because they associate
подобные финансовые продукты как бы с пирамиды, да? Но если мы говорим о том, что мы привлекаем агентов, и они получают проценты, мы строим сеть или все-таки это некая другая система? То есть как в целом выглядит это изнутри, хотя бы примерно?
Well, we were required from the beginning to refuse that, and at the same time give the possibility to people to grow their agencies, to build their own business, basically as a franchise. They're quite independent, they can work when they want and how they want, with methods they know, but by some specific standard.
So there's some sort of training by these guidelines. You train them, bring them, and respectively, each have their own standards.
Yes, we have our own training center. And those standards that we're integrating into the education process will allow us to grow a really high level of colleagues, to give them high quality knowledge that will help achieve a result when selling, and a personal result as well. Their personal sale is also a company sale. It's a new loyal client who, by trying once, and statistics show that 99% behave the same way. That first we're scared, then we try once. And our goal here is to break those barriers and take away outcry. And after trying, they like everything. And we continue to partner and scale our partnership.
Okay, but if
Хорошо,
we're talking
но при
about
всем при этом, если мы говорим о
franchising, there's
франшизе,
some sort
значит,
of
есть
ready
такой некий
product
готовый
which you
продукт,
could
который
just
можно
take.
просто взять,
For instance, to
например,
use
в
it
своем
in your
городе
own city and
использовать и
building an
строить свою как бы
agency,
некую,
just offering clients
не
ready
то что сеть,
products
наверное,
by
некое
using the
агентство,
training
да, просто
system
предлагая
that's
как бы
there, right?
клиентам уже готовые продукты, но как бы использовать ту систему обучения, которая есть, да?
Yes.
Все верно.
Yes, everything's right.
Работа по франшизе
Regular
в чистом виде,
franchising,
когда это отдельный бизнес
when it's
человека,
a
получившего
separate
все
business for a
регламенты,
person
все
who has all
документы,
regulations, all
все
documents,
необходимые
all mandatory
лицензии, всё остальное,
licenses,
да,
and etc.
руководитель агентства
The
получает
agency director receives
полностью
all
все
the
инструкции
instructions from the
в
fund.
фонде, он
They
обучается
train in
в
our
нашем центре,
center,
и
and it's
четко
made clear
подчинен руководителю.
that he answers to the entire agency network
Это
director.
все-таки сотрудник сейчас.
To
Но
say simply,
сотрудник, который
that
ведет
person is a
достаточно
partner,
свободный
but a partner
образ
who
жизни,
leads quite
и
freely
он не
and
обязан
doesn't
ежедневно
need
выходить в офис,
to go to an
он
office
может там
every
вообще
day.
не появляться.
He doesn't
У него
even need
есть
to appear
определенный
there.
план работы,
He has a laid
какое-то
out work
количество
plan,
клиентов новых,
some amount of new
какое-то
clients,
количество
some
проданных,
amount of solid investment products.
инвестиционных продуктов.
And please,
И,
you can
пожалуйста,
work
ты можешь,
whenever it's comfortable for you.
когда тебе удобно,
Just show the
но
results
показывай результат,
that are
который от
expected.
тебя ждет
Okay.
компания.
Но как бы стартап, да,
But
все
the
в самом
company
начале,
startup,
и
everything is
получается,
just
что именно сейчас
beginning,
очень
and it
важно
turns
прийти
out
людям, да,
that
то есть
right now
именно
it's really
сейчас
important to attract
лучше взять эту
people.
возможность,
At this
пока вы
moment,
только
it's better to
развиваетесь.
use this possibility
Конечно,
while you're
в
still
любом
growing.
стартапе, тем
Of
более
course,
прошедшем
in
свой,
any
опять-таки,
startup,
испытательный
especially
срок,
at those that have gone
можно
through
сказать
their
об этом абсолютно
probation,
уверен.
and we can confirm this with
Оказаться в начале
confidence,
пути
it's better to be a
великой
great
компании,
company from the
мы не
start,
сомневаемся в
and
другом.
we believe this. And to be
И
a
быть
partner
ее сотрудником
right
именно
now
сейчас
is a
это
great
всё-таки
possibility
великое счастье
for those
для тех людей,
who started with
кто
us.
с нами начал наш путь.
But the
Есть
feeling
это
really
ощущение
is
того,
that
что
BRAVIA
как бы
Fund is
компания BRAVIA
expecting a
Fund ждет
great
великое
future, and
будущее,
those
и как бы вот те
principles and
основы, тот
foundations
фундамент,
you're
который вы
laying out
закладываете, он
are to have a great and successful
предполагает
future with a
увидеть
strong team,
красивое,
with
успешное
strong
будущее вместе
instruments.
с сильной
I'm
командой,
already
с сильными
thinking that you
инструментами. И
probably
я
have
наверняка
right
думаю,
now
что сейчас у вас
encouragement
уже
programs.
есть
You
какие-то
are probably
программы
already
поощрения,
awarding
да,
partners
как-то вы
that are
награждаете,
working.
наверное, уже
Is there
сотрудников, которые
something
уже
like that?
работают. Есть что-то подобное?
Конечно, есть множество разных
Well,
программ
of
поощрения. У
course,
нас
there's
периодически
multiple reward
проходят
programs.
как для клиентов,
Periodically,
у
we
нас
have
различные
promotions
акции
for our
приятные
clients
проходят,
as well,
которые мы опять-таки
which we
можем
can
позволить
allow
с точки
ourselves
зрения
according
финансовой
to
математики,
financial
да,
math,
чтобы это было не
so that
накладно
it
для
isn't
компании
costly for
или
the
клиента.
company
Мы
or
периодически
clients,
проводим акции.
which is why we do it
Для
periodically.
сотрудников,
Without a
безусловно, действуют
question,
всевозможные программы
there
их
are
поощрения.
many
То
programs
есть
for
мы
partners to
предоставляем
reward
служебный
them.
автомобиль,
We
мы
offer
предоставляем
company
компьютерам,
cars,
технику, которая
computers.
необходима для бизнеса.
We offer
И,
mandatory business
есть
technologies.
возможность получить,
And there's also the
опять-таки,
chance to
использование
get
квартиры
an
в Испании,
apartment in
которую
Spain
оплачивает компания.
that's
Но
also
еще раз
paid for by the
повторюсь,
company.
мы как раз ищем
But I will repeat
сейчас
this
тех
again.
людей, которые
We're looking for
уверенно,
those
быстрыми
people
темпами
who are confident and
реализуют
quick to
все вот эти
realize
вот,
all these
четко
clearly
прописанные
written
пункты
reward
поощрений,
steps,
на которые
which
мы
are ready
готовы
to do
пойти для
so,
того, чтобы
that people can work
людям у нас
easily
работалось
and simply.
легко и просто и с задором,
When
с
searching for
каким-то
such
фаном.
people,
В своем поиске таких
We're betting
людей
on those
мы делаем ставки
who
больше
might
на
not be
тех, кто
perfect
не отличник, быть может, да, не системный
organized,
человек,
or
не успешный
were
менеджер
successful
на
managers at their last
Нам
position,
нужны люди, которые
but
внутри
people
горят.
who
То есть
have
те
a
люди, которые
fire
готовы
in their hearts,
браться и делать,
who are
и
ready to
двигаться,
take
и
things on,
не
move
смотреть
forward,
ни на что.
and not care
Он
about
получил ответ «нет»
distractions.
где-нибудь, он
If he has
порадовался,
answered no
он
somewhere,
движется
he'll be
вперед.
happy and still
Его
move
бросила
forward.
девушка,
If his girl
он
left him,
пришел,
he'll go and
добился
reach great
результатов
heights,
и
then show
показал
her
ей,
that
что
she
она
made a
допустила
really
очень
bad
большую
mistake in
ошибку в
her
своей
life.
жизни. Или у
Or
него не
maybe
сложилось на
he didn't
предыдущем
have
месте
luck at his
работы, его
last
просто
position and was
выгнали.
fired.
Окей,
Okay,
приходи к нам.
come to
Сделай
us,
продажи,
make
получи,
sales, get
свою
your
мотивацию
motivation,
и покажи, что
and
ты совсем
prove
другой.
that
Сам
you're
себе.
different. Prove it to yourself.
Нам нужны люди,
We
которые,
need people who
невзирая
don't get
на
caught
свои
up
жизненные
in past
какие-то
mistakes,
неурядицы,
but accept them
воспринимают их всегда правильно.
correctly.
Правильное восприятие
Perfect.
любой неурядицы и ошибки.
I got some
Отлично.
experience,
Я получил опыт.
and now
я
I'll keep
двигаюсь
moving
дальше.
forward. In reality, there aren't any problems or bad things. There's experience and there's success, and we still don't know what's more valuable.
То есть получается,
So it
когда вы
turns
создавали
out that
компанию, вы
when
сами
you
себе
founded the
сделали
company,
вызов,
you
то есть
challenged
тем людям, которые ее
yourself,
создавали.
the
А
founders,
теперь еще
and
даете
now you give the
возможность сделать
possibility
вызов
to other
людям, тем,
people
которые к вам
to
приходят,
challenge
доказать себе,
themselves.
что они могут
The
это
people who
сделать.
come to you to prove themselves that they can do it.
Of course, it's pretty much like that. The main streak of a creator, it's always felt in the whole creation. Each artist draws their painting however they want, and each director shoots a movie how they want. And it's the same here. It's the creation of an absolutely new organism, where all of our principles which are in us are extrapolated fully to that team, which is gathered around. And I'm surprised by how many strong people begin to visit us in life and open up things we didn't know and help us to see new perspectives.
Well, we've been talking today, and I've learned many things that are interesting, even what's connected to your philosophy. In reality, there's not one company in Russia that gives this financial possibilities like BRAVIA does, right? Like, in terms of flexibility, control of your finances, receiving income possibilities, and also to come here, make money,
Кому-то это может показаться слишком сладко, и, возможно, даже где-то могут люди не поверить, вот как вам эта ситуация.
What do you think about this situation?
We offer that which others refuse to offer. They keep going on their own tracks, an already made road, and they don't want to shake things up. If people come to work for us under such one-sided conditions, then we'll just continue. If a client comes to our bank or financial company and they're okay, then why change something? But we started not so long ago, and we need to find ourselves, find possibilities to sell, find the possibility to make a team. It's another example that it's a hard situation to step into a competitive market, and it brings only to one thing. Your head starts working faster. You start remembering absolutely everything you can and coming up with everything you're capable of.
So technically, by the client offering products and offering the clients and even the company partner free training, and if we remember these companies that are actually progressive, and I mean even the company Apple, when you offer a unique smartphone, and what's happening now, they're on the top. The same Facebook, a social media platform, they started from simple photos, which they started collecting together. It's now one of the best, and billions of people use it. So I think now we're talking about a company that in the future, after some time, will be valued by people as something unique and progressive. Because at this moment, you're not scared to do what you do. You're not scared to give people what which others don't.
If we look at the history of growth and success of those companies, which were being created in the last 5 to 7, maximum 10 years, it's always some sort of a social group. It's a community of absolutely different people, which in their masses create one united whole. It's the strive to unite. We all come together despite conflicts, military actions across the world. But if we look at it from the side, we'll see that the whole world is beginning to come together from scattered pieces into large clusters and moving to unite. I think that this concept of creating a financial company that actually offers banking services in the future on principles of social networks, the possibilities to communicate, make payments, come together, trade experience, make money together. This is absolutely correct. It's part of the main philosophy of BRAVIA.
When we started the conversation about how the company was created, about how you came to this, you said that you like to make for people a product that is easy to use, have financial freedom, and at the same time have personal freedom. So this philosophy is really close to you, and for yourself to be more free and to give others this freedom. Did I say this correctly?
Я правильно это подметила?
Yes, absolutely correct. I like to lead my life independently. I don't like stereotypes and imposed rules. I like living where I want to, traveling to a place I've never been to. Or maybe I've already been there 10 times, but my heart urges me to go again. And actually, money's like an energy. It plays a huge role in our life. And of course, that energy, that tool, as we've said today, is the key tool to control any person. It's like strings that you can pull. Their financial dependence. But it would be too pompous to say that we're ready to get rid of that dependence and give full freedom. At least we'll be able to make a step. Make the people close to us our team, our clients, to do at least some percent, at least give them a new level of independence, to not fear. Because fear is also one of the strongest forms of control, along with suppression and oppression. If we were able to take away the dependence and fears, it would be great.
Alexei, thank you so much for this great conversation, because I found out a lot of new things about financing humanity. I understood that there are people in Russia and in the world that really do want to give something to the Russian people, not caring about where they live, financial freedom, independence. And let's talk about that more in detail next time we meet.
Perfect. I'm really happy that we had such a fruitful conversation. I really want to bring some more information about the company out. Like what it does, what it's for, why it exists, and what lies ahead in the future. And how we'll be building client relations, increasing our team of like-minded individuals. And yeah, thank you so much for such a possibility to be able to make the information public.